to Teter's table. Alright, today we're making Sunday dinner and we're going to be making a kicked up meatloaf. It's going to be wrapped in bacon with a French onion gravy. It's also going to have ketchup and brown sugar glaze. And we're also going to do it with sauteed Brussels sprouts and mascarpone cheese and chive mashed potatoes. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, like I said, this is an awesome recipe and everyone I make this for absolutely loves it. And you're going to enjoy it too. Okay, for the potatoes, I have my chives, 2 potatoes that we're going to peel up and we'll boil off. Alright, I got some Dijon mustard we're going to add to the meatloaf mix. And finally our Brussels sprouts. Alright, for the Brussels sprouts, I've got my water boiling and I'm going to add about a teaspoon of sea salt here to the water. And like I said, we're just going to blanch these. Okay, while the Brussels sprouts are doing their thing, blanching here for a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and get the French onion gravy started. And how I'm going to do that is I got the pan on medium to low heat, tablespoon of butter. Let that melt. I'm going to take our yellow onion here. And when we julienne, we're going to cut the root off here just like this. Right at the end so we don't really have any waste here. And then when we julienne, we're going to cut long ways, right along these lines here. Right in the pan, we'll give these a little stir. You can see the Brussels sprouts are boiling and they're nice and green and they've softened up here. It's about 5-6 minutes and we're just going to take them off. And we're going to cool it. Alright, into the onion mix. We're going to add our thyme. And we're just going to throw it in there. And we're also going to add our 2 bay leaf. And while these are caramelizing, you don't want to mess with them too much or else they're not going to caramelize. Keep them from scorching, but kind of let them do their thing. Oh yeah, that's already smelling really good. Alright, so for the meatloaf, liquid ingredients first. I'll put in our Worcestershire, put in our 2 eggs, going to put in our Dijon mustard. Alright, we'll add our ketchup and brown sugar mix. We're going to add about half of this. The rest of it we will use to glaze on top. Parmesan cheese. A 1/4 teaspoon of prepared horseradish. You see it's starting to brown up nice. It's really smelling good. It already smells like meatloaf in here. And we haven't even started cooking it yet. In goes the breadcrumbs. Alright, onions got some good color on them. So now I'm going to deglaze. It just means I'm going to pick up all the bits here that are at the bottom. And this liquid will help pick all that stuff up. And it's just a ton of flavor at the bottom there. Add our tablespoon of flour. And this is going to help make the roux, which is going to thicken our gravy here. And going to give this a good stir. And you want to combine this really well, especially get around the edges here. Roux likes to hang out there. You see that? Alright, so I'm going to add this. Our sherry. Now I'll add our beef stock. Now I like to use these mason jars because you can just measure it right in the jar. And again, you just want to stir this and get all the bottom of the pan here so none of that sticks and burns. That's on point. Alright, once this comes to a boil, we'll turn the heat down to a simmer. And see, we can just take these thyme and bay leaf out. Alright, now I'm going to add some of this mixture to our meatloaf mix into our meatloaf. And the rest of this I can just let simmer a little bit to help keep thickening it up. Oh yeah! And to help this along, I'm going to use my nonstick baking pan here. That way it'll hold everything together nice. And we'll cook this about 3/4 of the way. For ground beef and things like this, you want it to an internal temperature of about, I usually take 160 degrees and let it rest up to 165. So we'll cook this to about 140. It'll be about 35-40 minutes for this. Yeah, that's how we want it, nice and caramelized. For the Brussels sprouts, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of olive oil, a teaspoon of butter. And I've got some reserved garlic that I'm going to add to the potatoes and the Brussels sprouts. And I'll add this almost at the end of cooking. I don't want this to get brown because it'll get bitter. And these aren't going to take long because remember we already blanched them and kind of cooked them. So we're really just going to kind of caramelize them here in the butter and in the olive oil. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of water to these to get them steaming. And as I take them off the heat, and that'll keep them warm, and I'll cover them a little bit. Give them a quick toss. They look pretty done. And they are. Use the old-fashioned hand masher. Garlic. Oh yeah, those are really good. Good and creamy, garlicky. All right, you can see our gravy. It's nice and thickened and ready to go. Potatoes for presentation, I like to use a little pastry bag, plastic sandwich bag here, Ziploc, and take a spoonful of these potatoes. And I got a star pastry tip here at the bottom. And just going to pipe these. And I kind of use electrical tape to tape around it so it doesn't bust open because these things aren't that strong. Pipe these on here in a little circle here, like you top a cake. Dinner at Teter's table. We've got our bacon wrapped French onion gravy meatloaf with mascarpone and chive, garlic mashed potatoes, and sauteed Brussels sprouts.